Hey everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here for the third and final part of kind of a three-part series about the best books I read and the worst books I read in 2022. So I love watching all of the end of the year content. I love making all the year content. I love looking back and just seeing what stands out to me in the year of 2022. So I've done a video of, I've done all my favorites lists. I did 4 different genres and my favorites. I've done general best and worst, like my 5 stars and my DNFs. And then I've done books that I should have 5-starred and books that I should have DNF'd. And now today I'm going to talk about what you guys think, what Goodreads thinks of the best books that I read in 2022 and the worst. And do I agree? Let's get into it. So I'm going to do the top 10 best and the top 10 worst. And so one qualifier for the best is that they had to have at least 1,000 ratings, because there are some really niche books that I read, especially about preemies and that kind of stuff, that I don't think have very much mass appeal, and there's been less than 1,000 readers. And so I don't know that that's necessarily fair in the grand scheme of things. So let's just get into it. So the top 10 best books that I read in 2022, according to Goodreads. Let's start at the least good, the least high ratings, and go to the best, if that makes sense. And so the ratings are dynamic. They change as of today. These are the ratings, so they may be slightly different, but let's just get into it. So first is Speak by Tunde. This is Tunde. Tunde is a Peloton instructor. She is awesome, and it is her memoir, and I loved it, you guys. This was on one of my favorites lists, and I would definitely agree with this. And it has a 4.36 rating as of today, and it is a memoir about body acceptance, about persevering, finding and going for what you want, and it is really good, really motivating. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Next is The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. So this has a 4.38 rating, and it is a thriller that is just all the rage, all the buzz right now. And it is about this woman who goes to, she applies to be this housemaid, I guess. And she gets there, and the mom, it's a mom, dad, a husband and wife and their daughter. And the mother is telling her to do things and then getting mad at her when she does them. And there's a lot of really weird stuff going on. And the daughter's a little weird. There's just a lot going on. And I think there's a sequel coming up this year to it. And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm really excited for it because I really liked this book. This was also on my favorites list. So I don't want to ruin the first one, though, because it was really good. So I agree with that, too. Next is For the Children's Sake by Susan Schaeffer Macaulay. And so this one I gave 4 stars. It is kind of a classic why to homeschool book, and it is a really inspiring read. I gave it 4 stars. It's not going to be for everybody, but it's pretty well liked for the people who do choose to read it. Next is Take My Hand by Dolen Perkins-Valdez, and this has a 4.41 rating, which actually the homeschool one did too, 4.41. And this book is about a nurse who works in she's a fresh out of school nurse, and she works for a family planning clinic, and her first clients or patients are 2 young girls that the government she is being told to kind of put on birth control and get under control because they are poor. It is 1973, and there's a lot of sterilization going on, and I knew nothing about this. I know it is based on true things, and it was so eye-opening and heartbreaking and hard to read, honestly, but really, really good. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't a favorite, but it was a good read for me. Next is Raising Worry-Free Girls, Helping Your Daughter Feel Braver, Stronger, and Smarter in an Anxious World by Sissy Goff. So this has a 4.45 rating, and that title alone made me pick it up immediately. If you guys don't know, I have 3 daughters, so raising strong daughters is a high priority to me. Honestly, I don't agree with this rating, though. I gave it 3 stars. This is written by a woman who seems like she studies kids but doesn't necessarily have them. And some of her points were even really contradictory. She would say one thing in one part of the book, context specific, I guess, and then say something completely different. And I honestly did not get what I wanted from that book. Next is A Mother's Goodbye by Kate Hewitt. This has 4.46, and I just put this on the list of books that I should have 5-starred because I loved this book. It is about two women. It is one woman, she finds herself pregnant with a baby that they cannot have. They just already have a bunch of kids and cannot afford, like they're barely keeping their heads up. So she knows that she is going to give this baby up for adoption, and it is the mother who she chooses to be the adoptive mother, and it follows both women throughout time, and it is so, so good. Next is Starfish by Lisa Fipps. This one has a 4.5 rating, and it is so good. It is a middle grade about this young girl who is bullied relentlessly for her size, and by kids, by teachers, by her parents, by like so many people. And it is about her finding her worth and her place irrespective of size, and just allowing herself to starfish, to be the biggest and take up the most space because that's what you deserve. And it is based on a lot of the author's own experiences, and I loved it. Next is Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortlund. And this has a 4.54. And I agree. This was on my favorites list as well. It is a nonfiction book about just the compassion and love of Christ, and how he loves us. And I loved it. Loved it. And then number one, the highest rated book that I read in 2022 was When Stars Are Scattered by Omar, Mohamed, and Victoria Jamieson. And this has a 4.65. And I agree. This is a graphic novel memoir, middle grade style of refugees, two young boys, brothers, refugees living in a camp, and our main character, his little brother is disabled, and so he is really torn between his like familial responsibility to take care of his brother. He is the caretaker, like it's just them. His mother is missing. He is the caretaker, and it is him learning how to still pursue an education and things for himself, but also take care of his brother. And it was just so eye-opening and hard to read, but really, really good. Sorry, that break was brought to you by my 2-year-old coming in with pom-poms to cheer for K-State. So, yay. Now, let's switch to the worst books according to Goodreads. And do I agree? So, I just did a video of books I should have DNF'd. So, let's see how many ended up on that list. So, this one I'll start from like the ones with the highest ratings and go down to the lowest ratings. So, the number 10, the highest rated worst book is I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney. So I did a whole Alice Feeney reading vlog because I had really liked one of her books, and I've heard high praise, and so I read 4 or 5 of her books, and I realized that she does an unreliable narrator a lot, and I don't love that. And some like reoccurring themes throughout her book that I don't love. So this one is also one that I did not love. I gave it 3 stars. Let's move on. Next is No Ordinary Christmas by Belle Calhoun. This is a second chance romance. It's got a 3.42 rating. I think I gave it a 3, about a movie star guy that comes back to his hometown and has a second chance with this girl, but he's kind of a jerk. She's kind of a jerk. This was nothing special for me. Next is Better Together by Christine Riccio, and this has 3.41 stars, and I gave it 3 stars as well. It's like The Parent Trap, but with huge plot holes and a premise I couldn't really get behind because there's parents just like ignoring the fact that they have kids, and I can't relate, so I don't know. Next is The Blame Game by Sally Jones. I gave this one 3 stars, and it has a 3.2 or 3.32. I honestly don't remember really anything about it, so let that speak for itself. Next is The Flip Side by James Bailey. It has a 3.29 rating. I gave it a 3 star. And this is about a couple, they meet or something, and then he has to find her, and he flips a coin a whole bunch. I don't know. Next is Island Time by Georgia Clark. This has 3.23. I gave it a 3. It's about 2 families coming together for a wedding, and hijinks ensue. It was all right. Next is Cheat Day by Liv Stratman, 3.17. This was on my shoulda DNF'd it list because I didn't like it at all. It's about a woman cheating on her husband and her diet. Next is Bookish People by Susan Coll. It has a 2.92 rating. I also should have DNF'd it. I don't think I did, but I should have DNF'd it. because I don't really remember much, except it's about a bookstore and it was super slow and super weird and not my jam. Next is Come Here Often by Ellie Center. It has a 2.61 rating. I gave it a 3-star, and I think the reason this has such a low rating is mismarketing, because it's got an illustrated cover. It looks super cutesy. It looks like a fun chick lit, and it is not a fun chick lit. It is about this woman who is trying to like get on a diet and exercise thing, and she has crippling anxiety to the fact that she is stuck in the gym. She cannot leave the gym. It is a deep dive into anxiety, and it is hard and it is dark and not fun and light like the cover would lead you to believe. And then the worst book, you guys, this made me laugh a lot actually. The worst, lowest rated book that I read in 2022 according to Goodreads is Things I Should Have Said by Jamie Lynn Spears, and it has a 2.44, and I give it a 3-star. It is kind of a tell-all by Jamie Lynn Spears. This 2022 was like the year of tell-alls, I feel like. And, yeah, people aren't happy about it. And I feel like the Spears thing is like something I can't look away from. But this one too, like she felt whiny. She felt like she's almost like, I don't know. I was really interested in her motherhood journey because she became a mother very, very young. And now she has 2 kids that have a huge gap. And I was interested in all of that. But, like, I don't know, man. So those are the best and worst books of 2022 according to Goodreads. And I feel like I agree. Like, the only ones I don't agree with is the Raising Worry-Free Girls. I don't think that has a spot on the best list. And but the rest, like the worst, I gave them all 3 stars, which is like take it or leave it, or else it was on a least favorite list. So I feel like I agree pretty much. So that is everything. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and if you keep like track of your reading and stuff. This was really interesting for me to do. So if you haven't done it, maybe recommend it. Check it out. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.